Over the years, we have gotten accustomed to these kind of headlines with regards to the state of government school education in our country. Year on year, there are reports and surveys that talk about the abysmal levels of learning outcomes in our government schools. Haryana is a state neighboring the national capital of Delhi, which has around 15,000 such government schools. It has around 100,000 government school teachers and more than 2 million government school students. Till about 2 years back in 2017, the situation in Haryana with regards to learning outcomes was not very different from the rest of the country. Except there was one thing that was different. It was in that year, in 2017, that the state resolved to transform the situation and worked towards an audacious goal. The audacious goal was to make 80% of government going school students in Haryana grade level competent by 2019. What this meant was that every student who's going to a government school in Haryana from grade 1 to grade 8 would know the competencies like a 2-digit addition, a 3-digit subtraction, the ability to read a sentence and so on and so forth, corresponding to his or her grade. As simple as it may sound, it was an audacious goal, something that's largely unheard of in this part of the world and extremely uncommon in middle income and low income countries. And to meet this audacious goal, a program called Saksham Haryana was launched. Saksham Haryana can be said to be probably the boldest attempt, a boldest effort to transform school education anywhere in the country with regards to learning outcomes. I'll try and narrate the story of Saksham Haryana as I saw it. It started by focusing on the teachers. In 2017, in the primary schools of Haryana, there was 20 to 25% vacancy of government school teachers. Whenever there would be an attempt to recruit teachers, the recruitment would ultimately land up in the doorsteps of the courts, and they would put a stay order in the recruitment process. This was largely because the process itself was extremely complicated, not transparent, and left a lot of scope and room for corruption. In fact, in 2017, a former chief minister of the state was serving a 10-year sentence in jail on account of teacher recruitment scandal. It was in that situation that the state took a tough decision, made a set of policy decisions, streamlined process, and introduced technology to make the entire teacher recruitment process transparent. And as a result of that, more than 7,000 primary school teachers have been recruited in Haryana, and the vacancies have largely been eliminated in the primary classes. Next, coming to teacher transfers. There are two kinds of teachers in our government school system. The teachers who feel they have been allocated a school of their choice, and therefore they are constantly making sure that they don't get arbitrarily transferred out to another school. And there are teachers who feel that they've been given a school which is not of their choice, and therefore they are constantly on the lookout to get transferred to another school. Whichever way you may look at it, there's a significant amount of teacher mind share that goes in managing these transfers. And this provides an opportunity to local politicians to cultivate a network, a patronage network of teachers, which also happen to constitute the largest workforce in any government system in any state. This is almost a transfer industry at play across the entire country. And this transfer industry, the back of this transfer industry was broken when the teacher transfer policy was adopted in the state of Haryana, which said that transfers will only happen as part of structured transfer drives. And even during these drives, there will be a point-based systems through which, basis the service history of a teacher would get points. She would give his or her preferences as to which school they want to get transferred to, and through a computer algorithm, it will be decided which teachers get posted to which school. So in one go, the entire patronage network as well as the transfer industry was given a big blow. While transfers only happen once in a while, on a more daily basis, there are a lot of HR and administrative processes of a teacher, leave application, medical reimbursement, travel allowance, and so on and so forth, which consume a lot of teacher time because they have to follow up with officials to get relevant allocations and relevant approvals done. 18 such processes were identified and brought online. So both the policy decision on the transfer side as well as this bringing online of the HR processes freed up a lot of teacher time, which was earlier not getting devoted to academics. Another thing which is done with respect to teachers, we're talking about promotions here. Promotions of teacher happen basis the service history of a teacher, and that is recorded and kept inside what is called a service book. What you see on the screen is a service book of one teacher in the state. There are 100,000 teachers in the state which have similar service books. If you go to any government department, particularly the education department in any office of the education department, you'll see piles of such service books lined up. In fact, walls are created out of these service books because they're lying there because of certain approvals, certain modifications, certain check that needs to be done. And for the teacher, it's the most precious physical asset that a teacher owns. And they take a lot of pain in maintaining these service books, making sure the right entry is there, the right signature is there, there's no adverse comment, and so on and so forth. Currently, effort is underway in the state to digitize all of these 100,000 physical service books into online service books, which will automatically get linked to the technology systems in the state and will needn't be maintained by the teacher so dearly. So these are the different steps in terms of recruitment, transfers, HR processes, as well as promotions that were taken with regards to the teachers. Another administrative decision was taken, which was related to textbooks. Most states in the country provide free textbooks to students till class 8. However, the average delay in the country in providing these textbooks is 2 to 3 months, which means even after the start of the academic sessions, for 2 to 3 months, students don't have a textbook, and therefore the teaching and the learning is suboptimal. Haryana in the last 2 years has ensured that 6.5 million textbooks are delivered to its elementary school students on day 1 of the academic session. As simple as it may sound, but it's only the second state in the country to be able to do that. These were all the things on the administrative side. Let me focus a little bit on the academic interventions. Since the audacious goal of Saksham Haryana was to get 80% students to be grade level competent, it was very important to shift the fundamental mindset in the state from teaching syllabus to teaching competencies. Right? So therefore, something called a Saksham Talika was created, which simply maps the different textbook chapters to the specific competencies that those chapters try and impart to the student. This is available in all schools in the state. It is pasted on the walls of the schools and definitely available on the WhatsApp of every teacher in the state. This went a long way in changing the discourse in the state from chapter completion, syllabus completion to competency teaching. Once a teacher knows what are the competencies to be taught, it's also important for her to know that where does her class stand on different competencies. Therefore, something called a Saksham Haryana Saksham Adhyapak dashboard was created, which provides this clarity to a teacher as to on different competencies how her class is doing, to a principal on different competencies how her school is doing, and so on and so forth. Now, once this awareness on where the class stands on competencies, it's important to focus and teach the weak competencies, and that's where teacher training comes into play. The traditional method of training in all the government systems is that trainings happen at a state level, then some resource persons are trained at the district level, who further train people at the block level, who further train people at the cluster level, and finally they train the teachers on the ground. The challenge with this cascaded model of training is that it's time consuming, it's costly, the quality comes down with every additional level of cascading, and the retention for the teacher is very, very low. This had to be fundamentally reimagined. It was seen that teachers in Haryana in particular, with the advent of mobile internet, are really hooked on to WhatsApp. And therefore it was thought, can the entire training architecture be centered around WhatsApp? And 119 WhatsApp group of teachers were created, where 30,000 teachers across the entire state were added to create a channel for this training. Then 2 to 3 minute competency-based videos were created through experts. Infographics were made of how to conduct a class. And all of this was curated into a 2-week WhatsApp course, a 3-day WhatsApp module, and so on. And these were imparted through these 119 WhatsApp group to the 30,000 teachers. Now, while the teacher is teaching basis the learning that she has gotten through these trainings, it's important that somebody is mentoring the teacher to teach better. A new cadre of 700 mentors were created in the state, and their only job is to visit schools, observe what the teachers are doing, and give them feedback. Every school in Haryana gets covered at least once every 2 months by these mentors, who go sit in the classroom, observe the teacher, give feedback to the teacher, and also capture the observations in a geotagged Saksham Samiksha app. So today, the teacher knows the competencies that are to be taught, knows what are the weaker competencies for our students, is trained over WhatsApp to teach those weak competencies, and there is mentoring available to course correct. Not just that, another intervention on the academic side focused on the weaker students. Now, in every class, there are students who are not able to follow what is being taught in the current grade because their concepts from the previous grades are not clear. Therefore, a remedial program was designed through experts, as per which one period, the first period in every primary school in the state, is actually dedicated to this remedial program, where the teacher groups students basis their competency levels, and through activity-based learning tries and teaches basic competencies to the weaker students. This helps the students to follow what is being taught through the rest of the day. So these were the set of administrative and academic interventions that were taken as part of undertaken as part of Saksham Haryana. But was it good enough to achieve the audacious goal? No. One more thing was required, which was to galvanize the entire system, the multiple stakeholders in the system towards the common objective of Saksham Haryana. And this was achieved through an innovation called Saksham Ghoshna. Saksham Ghoshna essentially gamified the objective of Saksham Haryana. Let me explain how. The state has 22 districts, and each district has multiple blocks. There are a total of 119 education blocks in the state of Haryana. Every block has roughly around 100 odd schools. The block was taken as a unit in Saksham Ghoshna. If a block, through all the structured administrative and academic interventions, plus their own localized innovations, feel that 80% of their students have become grade level competent, then the block could self-nominate itself for a third-party assessment. Once a block self-nominated itself, a third-party independent entity comes, does an examination or assessment in that block, and if it is indeed found that 80% of the students are grade level competent, then the block is declared as a Saksham block. And once all the blocks in the district are declared Saksham, the district is declared as a Saksham district. And when all the districts in the state would be declared Saksham, then Haryana would become Saksham. So this gamification of the objective of Saksham Haryana really enthused the entire machinery in this direction. Everyone felt that their glory is in their hands. A lot of things were done to give impetus to this and create momentum. The Chief Minister himself started reviewing the status of Saksham Haryana, in particular the status of blocks who were going for Saksham Ghoshna assessment. This cascaded down, so there were regular VCs between the Chief Minister's office and the ground level officials on the preparedness for Saksham Ghoshna. Further, it percolated down and there were reviews at the district and the block level. They were all permutation combinations of WhatsApp groups, around 200 plus structured WhatsApp groups to make sure that no element in the preparation for Saksham Ghoshna and Saksham Haryana, no ball is getting dropped. A lot of officers at the block and the district level went beyond the call of duty to really make sure that their blocks are able to self-nominate themselves and are eventually clearing the assessment. And therefore, the concept of a Saksham Officer of the Week was started, where every week one officer was recognized at the state level as Saksham Officer of the Week to add to the motivation of everyone else. A lot of opportunities were created where ground of participation was encouraged. Just to give one instance, I talked about the WhatsApp-based teacher training. At one point in time, teachers were asked to make their own recording of 2 minutes, 3 minutes, where they're teaching specific competencies in their classroom and share back on these WhatsApp groups. Thousands of such videos were crowdsourced from the teachers across the state, curated, and then included in the next version of the training content. Now imagine the motivation of a teacher teaching in a remote school in Haryana and her video being watched by 30,000 odd teachers across the entire state. So every such opportunity was leveraged. While these were the things that were happening centrally, a lot of things started happening on the ground on their own as part of Saksham Ghoshna. Blocks started creating micro-level plans to identify what are the weak schools, what are the weak competencies, what are the efforts that we can make to overcome these weak competencies. Can we do extra classes on the weekend? Can we do more training of the teachers and so on and so forth? Saksham Registered started getting maintained at a school level, where for every student, it was maintained what are the competencies the student knows and what are the competencies the student does not know, so that the teacher has even granular visibility. Pre-assessment started getting conducted at the block level. Because there was a fundamental shift from rote-based learning to competency-based learning, therefore the assessments were also now, as the third-party assessments, were around competencies. Since students were not used to those kind of examinations, so blocks started conducting these pre-assessments to practice, so that the students have practice for those kind of questions and assessments. Cluster-level best practice sharing meetings started happening, where schools would share what they are doing to ready themselves for the Saksham Ghoshna nomination. No cheating oaths. There was a very strong message top down saying that if any block is cheating is found to be happening in any block, the block would be completely disqualified from the entire competition and the concept of Saksham Ghoshna. Keeping that in mind, there were a lot of oath-taking ceremonies that happened with teachers, officials, even students on the ground level to make sure that there's no element of cheating that's happening in any of these. The momentum reached a crescendo when during the 26th January Republic Day parade, there were tableaus of Saksham Haryana in every district of the state. But what did all of this momentum ultimately lead to? There have so far been 8 rounds of assessments under Saksham Ghoshna. That means blocks have self-nominated themselves, and it groups 20, 40, 50 blocks have undergone third-party assessment. As I said, there are a total of 119 education blocks in the state. And several of these blocks have undergone multiple rounds of assessment because they couldn't meet the bar in first go. As we speak today, 106 out of these 119 blocks have been declared Saksham. And if you look at the number of students, then 86% students across grades 3, 5 and 7 are grade level competent in math and Hindi as per third party assessment. This is almost an incredible and an unbelievable achievement, unbelievable feat. And that's why I say Saksham Haryana is probably one of the boldest attempts toward transforming school education system anywhere in the country with regards to learning outcomes. And it has created a new normal in the state. The headlines today look very, very different than 2 years back. The officials, the principals, the teachers in the state know that, take pride in their work and know that what they are doing is to create the future of the state and the future of the country, and they are recognized for the same. And most importantly, it's created a new normal for the students who know that the education that they are getting in government schools is as good, if not better, than what their friends are getting in the private schools. And it has created a new normal for me as well. It has told me that no matter how complex, if done right, then any transformation is possible. In other words, nothing is impossible. Thank you.